Hey everybody, welcome to Fit Tip Tuesday. Today what I'd like to do is finish the bodice pieces for my wrap top. If you joined me for my first FabFit Friday live stream that I did on YouTube last week, I shared some of my process and some of my frustration with this project. I'm trying to create a wrap top that doesn't gape away along the neckline and that fits my G cup bust. You can see that I think I have figured it out. Okay, this is what I ended up with after I worked on it a little bit over the weekend. And what I want to do is show you how I got this to fit right. So if you look in front of me, this is my tortured piece that I was working on Friday. And I've actually traced a nice copy of it over here so I can show you everything I did. Unfortunately for me, I really just wanted to have two little darts down here and have a nice fitting bodice. But I think for a non-stretch fabric, I need to have all of this dart. But having it all right here is too much. It's too much intake for the length of these short little darts. I got little bubbles on top of my darts, like blobs of fabric. So here's what I decided to do. First, I want to make this dart a little bit smaller, and I thought to myself, what I can try doing is rotating some of the dart to the shoulder. Now, when I do that, it gives me two design options. Once some of this dart is rotated to my shoulder, I can have a dart there, or if I'm working with a fabric that's really soft and drapey, I can actually have a little bit of a gather on the shoulder seam, which I think would be nice too. So let me show you how to rotate some of this dart to the shoulder, and you're going to see in a minute why I can't just completely get rid of this dart on the shoulder. The first thing I'm going to do is mark my middle of my shoulder, which is approximately 7/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to draw a guideline from the tip of this dart to the middle of my shoulder. Okay, I'll do it in pink. All right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'll cut along one dart leg and then up to the shoulder along my line. I'm going to cut on this red line straight through my shoulder so I can rotate my dart. Now here's the thing. I mentioned this on Friday, but the farther away your opening of your new dart is from the tip of the dart that you're closing, the bigger it's going to open. So watch what happens when I completely close this dart. Okay, if I completely close this dart, look at this massive dart I have on my shoulder. There's no way I can gather that much fabric up and have it look nice. Plus, it throws everything really off grain. So it's not realistic to close this entire dart because it just gapes open too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with a reasonable amount, and I'm going to just pivot it from the tip out a little bit, just to close it a little bit. So I think maybe getting rid of a 1/2 inch of it is a reasonable amount. And basically what I'm trying to do is just even up the dart intake between this one. So this is 2.5. And so now this is 2.5. So basically I'm evening up the darts. That's why I'm closing some of this one, because this one was huge. All right, so now that I have that, I'm going to tape it here. Okay. Okay, and I'm also going to put this piece of paper in here and tape this down. All right, so now I've got that dart filled in. All right, so you can see now what I have here is a smaller dart here and a pretty good sized dart right here. Now that I filled in this dart, what I'm going to do is I'm going to back it up because I don't want it to run through my apex, because you can see here the tips of these small darts are about 1.5 inches below my apex. So I really want this dart to be up a little bit higher. So let's move it up. Let's say we move it up 3 inches, because I really want it to be above I want it to end before you get to the fullest part of my bust. So I'm just going to make a pink dot right there. So that's going to be the new tip of my dart. I already know what that dart is going to do when I sew it up because I have it here. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but from sort of in the middle of the dart, I can pinch out probably close to 1/2 inch, maybe 3/8 inch of fabric in here, because I have hollows in here. Like, my body isn't straight from my shoulder to my bust. It kind of dips in a little bit. So I have some extra fabric in here. So to fit that curve, I can contour this dart and take out a little bit of that fabric. So what I'm going to do is around halfway, like let's say 6 inches from the shoulder right here, I'm going to measure almost 1/4 inch on either side, like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my curved ruler here to gently go from the original to that amount, like this. And then I'm going to go back to my original dart over here. I mean, to my new dart tip. Oops. All right, and I'm going to do it on this side too. Okay, so you can see what we've created now is a curved, slightly curved or contoured dart. And just to make it really obvious, I'm going to do it in blue so you can see the shape of it. Okay, it just slightly bows out, and that will take up the little bit of hollow or curve in my shape. All right, so if I decide to sew this as a dart, that's the dart I'm going to sew. But remember, if I decide I want to make gathers at the shoulder, it doesn't matter what those dart legs look like, because we're just going to gather it up at the shoulder seam. But for this purpose, I'm going to actually sew this dart. So that takes care of that, and that kind of completes that dart. What I'm going to want to do here is fold these up to match. And then I can cut this off, and we'll see what the top of the dart looks like. Okay, so you can see it bows out slightly. All right, so that completes the dart. Now, down here, even though I made this dart a little bit smaller, it's still too much. I couldn't make those work. So I am going to split these 2 darts into 3 darts. So let me show you how to do that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center between these 2 dart legs. So this is 2.5 inches apart, so I'm going to make 1 1/4 away. And I'm going to draw a line like this. And I'm drawing it parallel to this dart leg over here. Okay. Then I'm going to have it extend. I'm going to draw it up so it's a little bit higher than I need. Then I'm going to connect the tips of my darts to that, like this. Okay, so I've created those guidelines. So let's start with this one. What we'll do is we'll make it so we create 3 even, or 3 darts that are the same size. So if these darts are like 2.5, then I can take off, if I take an 3/4 of an inch off of each, let me just try it here. If I take off 3/4, that's going to leave me with a little more than 1.5 inches on this one. And if I take off 3/4 off of this one, yeah, that's going to leave me with a little more than 1.5 inches. So my middle dart will be slightly smaller. So why don't I up it 1/8. All right, so I'm going to change it to here. Those are just my guidelines for closing. And then let me just add 1 more 1/8 over here. Okay. All right, so let me do them in red. This is where I'm going to close the dart to. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to rotate this portion of the dart to the middle. And we're going to rotate this portion of this dart to the middle to create 3 darts. So to do that, I'm going to slash on this dart leg. I'm going to slash up the center of here, of my new position for my new dart. And then I'm also going to slash across here. So then the next step is I'm going to take this piece of the pattern and I'm just going to rotate it to close that. Okay, and then it opens up the dart there. Let me just tape it into place so you can see. All right, then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to cut on this inner dart leg and across. And I'm going to rotate this to my guideline. And see what that does? It creates my 3rd dart. Okay, so now I've got 1, 2, 3 darts. The next thing I'm going to do is I want to measure them because we want to make sure all the dart legs are the same length. So let's start over here. This one's 3 3/4 to here. So then let's measure 3 3/4 to here. It puts me right here. So I'm going to draw that. Okay, then over here, here's the tip of my dart. We want it to be 3 3/4, so that puts me right here. Three 3/4. And then over here, this one's also 3 3/4. And 3 3/4 is right here. Okay, so after I have my darts marked, I'm going to fold them to cut off the extra and true everything up here. So I'm going to fold all the darts so that the intake is going towards the side seam. So once I have that folded, I can cut along. Like that. And then I don't want to cut off too much because I want to make sure I have a smooth transition from this dart to this dart. So then I'm going to fold this one to this one, and I can go across there. And then the last one from here to here. We're just going to cut straight across and finish that. All right, so here's what my finished pattern piece looks like. To test it, I'm going to cut out 2 this time so I can do my left and my right. So I'm kind of excited. I think this is going to be my final answer. I'm not thrilled that I had to have a dart over here. I suppose, I mean, I could put it back on the bust, but for now, I'm going to leave it there and see how it looks. The other option I have is, right now, it's coming like this, pointing towards the apex. I can probably reposition it so it's more parallel to my neckline edge. But for now, let's just try this and see how it looks. All right, I sewed both sides. All right, so here are my 2 pieces. I used my ham. I love this thing. This is my mom's ham. It's older than me. And if you find a spot on it where the curve of the fabric agrees with the shape of your dart, you can use that to press your dart intake allowances off to one side. So you can see here I press them all towards the side seam. So let's stick this on the ditto form and see how it looks. I'm always so happy when I can lay a piece of fabric on my dress form and it practically stays by itself. That's a good sign. So I'm just going to pin that. Yeah, that looks really nice. Okay, and then let me get my other side on. All right, there you have it. I am very, very pleased with that. Now remember, these pieces are going to get sewn to a bottom half, and I think I may actually cut the bottom half on the bias. That could be fun. You know, I'm looking at this. There's so many things you can do with this. For example, I'm just going to draw on it so you could see. Here's this dart. Okay, it comes down like this. Okay, what if I were to connect this dart to this dart like this? Then I could have 2 colors. So I could have a center front and a side front pieces. I could actually make it a 2-piece, you know, 2 pieces on one side, and then I could do prints or colors. That could be kind of cool. You know, or I'll leave it as it is. I'm going to definitely make one up and try it on. I feel very confident that it's going to fit me because my ditto form is so close to my shape. So I'm very, very pleased with this. And the 3 darts work. I will say that this side is a little bit bigger than this side. And so I'm hoping when I put it on me, I'll be a happy medium, you know, in between. So I'm not going to worry about the fact that this side is slightly looser. I'm not making a left and right, separate left and right pattern pieces to fit my ditto form because I think, you know, I think it'll average out and fit me. And you can see there's no gaping. Okay, so it's not going to pull away from me. And that's with raw edges on the bias. So imagine once they're finished, that'll have a nice finish. All right, so that is the top bodice pieces for my wrap top. I'm going to press go on this and move on to the next step. Join me Friday for FabFit Friday. I will share the completed top as well as how I drafted the lower front and back pieces and the upper back piece. That will be at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time live right on my channel. So I will see you at the end of the week. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, either post them below or bring them with you on Friday and I will answer. I'll answer you live. So I think that'll be fun. So have a great rest of your day and I'll see you on Friday.